Hello, welcome to this week's Talking Film, your ultimate movie news service catch-up. I'm Daniel, and we have Nick on the other side, and we're going to talk about some movies today. And we'll start off first with Mad Max Fury Road, and we're going to have a long discussion on that movie. So I don't know if we're going to get into spoilers, but just in case, if you haven't seen the film, then skip to the news section and come back to the movie discussion when you see the film. Okay, Nick, you want to start off?
Not to spoil it. Loved it. That was great. I know that's kind of the critical consensus, and I'm not very surprising there, perhaps, but I really just had such great visuals, such great action. It was just epic, and what I thought when I came out, that was it was the visual cinematic equivalent of a rock concert.
No, I can understand that with the score and the electric guitar that pretty much breathes fire.
It was like heavy metal. It was a metal concert, even. It wasn't even a rock concert. It was metal. It was pretty awesome. It was very cool. Yeah. That's my general impression.
The action and cinematography, pretty much well done, brilliant. Although I do have a problem with the film. My only problem would have to be the story surrounding it. I mean, it's there, but it's like the action's mainly the forefront, and I wish I got a bit more story with the characters, because they're pretty much the only one that's developed would be Furiosa, and this took me out a little bit, would be Max's visions. For newcomers, they should have answered that. Obviously, the people who have seen the previous films would have known that knowledge, but for newcomers like myself, and I don't know if have you seen the original ones?
Nope. But I kind of understood what.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that a bit more.
I got the idea of. I got the idea of what those visions were kind of instilling in Max. So Max has visions. I think I don't know if they do have something to do with the past movies, but I assume they do. He has visions that kind of spur him on when he has moments of anger almost, or moments of hatred, and he just has second thoughts and calms down when he thinks of these visions. Basically, they spur him onwards. But really, Max is not the main character. He is, but he's not at the same time.
Of course not.
In this film, right? Max is the audience. He's the lens through which we see the story, and the story is about Furiosa, and it's about how she tries to get these sex slaves away from Immortan Joe's patriarchal jail, basically. It was very surprisingly feminist. I know there's a lot being written about that, but it's I've never seen an action movie, anything of this genre, be so feminist. It's a big. It's a pleasant surprise. It's a big surprise.
Why are people caring about it? I really don't know why people are mooning that it's too feminist. I don't get that.
So why are people complaining it's too feminist?
Feminist?
Nature is feminist. That's the description. Whereas with Mad Max, it didn't have to be feminist, but it was. It just happens to be. It's a lot of things. Feminist is just one of them. It's got feminist reading. Just one of them. But that's the one that came to the forefront for me because it was so surprising. It was so unexpected, and I think that's why it's got a lot of the good buzz and good reviews. Is it's managed to subvert expectations. This film, and I mean, yes, the actresses in the film, a lot of them are quite attractive, and flawless looking, but that's kind of purposeful because they have to be pretty if they're going to be Immortan Joe's preference. He can basically pick any girl in his society, and he's going to pick the most attractive ones. So those are the ones that Furiosa is trying to get away from him. So it kind of fits in the story. I disagree with you in that the story doesn't really make sense, or the story doesn't really satisfy. I disagree. I think the story really works for the type of film it is. And honestly, it could have just been one long action scene. The entire film could have just been one long continuous action scene, and it would have been just the metal concert and nothing else. But it was so much more than that. It had a heart to it. I actually cared about a lot of the characters really quickly. As soon as some spoilery stuff happens about midway through the film, some spoilery stuff happens to one of the characters midway through the film, and I really cared about what happened, what was going to happen to that character, even though I hadn't known him for very long, and it came as a bit of a dramatic turn, really, trying to be very unspoilery here. I thought that was really he characterized Miller, the director, George Miller, characterizes his characters very well in the film. I think it was really well done. And the setting, the desert, everything the world feels alive, and this is an action movie that feels almost authentic. It feels like a throwback to the action movies of old. Like, that's another thing that people have been praising it for. It's just like it's not Transformers, it's not huge CGI, just all over the place kind of action for the sake of action. It's good old-fashioned dystopian, like, war action, gritty. Like, I know gritty's a modern thing, but it's the old-fashioned kind of gritty. When I say old-fashioned, I mean the 80s. It feels 80s. It feels like it's from the same era as the original trilogy of Mad Max films, I think. And I don't know if it keeps the same, like, Australian kind of feeling, because I haven't seen the original trilogy. But I definitely got that kind of vibe that I would expect from watching the original trilogy. That's the kind people talk about anyway.
Well, I don't disagree with you with the characters. I felt like only one of the characters in the film was pretty much the glue, and that was Charlize Theron's character. I thought that was the only character where I knew the backstory. I actually cared about her towards the end of the film. And everyone else, including Mad Max, couldn't really get behind her because I knew so little about them.
No, I don't think that's true. I mean, it's all opinion based. So you're valid. Your opinion is valid, but it's wrong. No, your opinion is valid, but I disagree with it, because I think that Mad Max Fury Road is like almost perfect in its genre. It's not perfect as like compared to some other films, but as an action film, it's nearly perfect. It's exactly what the trailer. It's exactly what the trailers were advertising in terms of tone, and we don't get that very often.
Yeah, I know, but if you say it's in its genre, I mean, for action films like Die Hard or even the Bourne films, there's a really great story towards behind them, besides just the action.
I think that the thing is with Mad Max is it works. I don't know. I think it equals that level. The Bourne films, yes, they're amazing and they've got an amazing story, but so does Mad Max Fury Road. I think it's the same. So I don't know what you've missed there,
there's a good,
or why you.
There's a good story. There's a good story, but
the story
it's not in the forefront as much.
I think the story was. I think everything that happened in that film was about driving a character, whether it was Charlize Theron's character or Nicholas Holt's character or Tom Hardy's character, Mad Max. Every single thing that happened in that film was to serve story and character. If there was a giant flaming guitar in the film, it was not just for the sake of the spectacle. It was to serve the world. in that case. That's setting. That's setting.
Yeah,
And
they did a great job setting the world up, that's for sure.
yeah. So I think, yeah, see, setting, character, story, everything the film has to do right, it did really well. And it's probably my favorite film of the year, although I don't know, I really, really did enjoy Kingsman too. So it's kind of, yeah, I don't know. I think Kingsman's still my favorite just because of the comedy element. I really thought, like, I'm more of a fan of light-hearted entertainment than the gritty action. But as far as gritty action goes, I think Mad Max is perfect in that regard. Perfect's a strong word, but it's very, very close to perfection.
Definitely perfect in the action sequences and the spectacle behind it. It's perfect there.
Anyway.
Okay, well, moving on to movie news, and we actually have some movie news today, this week. Movie studios actually decided to release movie news, so let's get into them.
Let's be honest. It's a slight improvement from last week. It's not that great.
No, it's not that great, but still, it's better. It's better. We only had one news piece last week to talk about, so Reese Witherspoon is attached to produce and star in Disney's live-action adaptation of Tinkerbell, titled as Tink, with Victoria Strauss writing the film's screenplay, who is the writer for next year's Finding Dory. Do you think Reese Witherspoon's perfect for Tinkerbell?
So this isn't the top news story?
This is the top news story.
Well, don't we normally go to the top news story last? Oh no, we normally start with the top news story, don't we?
Nope, we started off.
Okay, don't worry.
Yep.
Forgot.
It's been so long. It's been so long since we've actually had heaps of news.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we've had this discussion how long have we been doing this? 2 months? 2 months that we've been doing this show. We've had this discussion about Disney live-action reboots about 4 times. So, to reiterate...
Yes, and you keep telling them to stop.
To reiterate, Disney, just take your foot off the pedal for a second, take a look at yourself in the mirror and think, do we want to tarnish our live-action reputation by just being unimaginative and producing reboots of films that are well-loved and adored and perfect the way they are? You don't need to reboot everything unless someone has an idea that specifically revolves around rebooting this. It can't be the other way around. It can't be, oh, we need to reboot this. Now let's come up with ideas. It should be, oh, I have an idea for how it would be really interesting to reboot this. If you're going to reboot something, don't reboot it for the sake of rebooting. That's it.
Okay, well, I disagree. I think Disney should keep doing these fairy tale adaptations where... No, Alice in Wonderland is horrible. Tim Burton's reboot of that was terrible. But first it makes a lot of money, so they're gonna keep doing them. But
yes, but
I feel like I agree that they will. I feel like they might tarnish their brand when they keep announcing, oh, we've got this in development, and this in development, and this has a script and it's going to be on its way, and we've started this person and this is going to be happening. There's too much fairy tales adaptations they want to tell. Once a year, it's been pretty much working that way with Oz the Great and Powerful and Maleficent and now Cinderella. They're making respectable box office numbers, and they should just keep doing it once a year as a special thing. So we might have Jungle Book next year, and Beauty and the Beast in 2017, and maybe Milan in 2018, and Tinkerbell in 2019. But I feel like they're just going to keep pushing out because we've got 2 next year. We've got Alice in Wonderland 2 and Jungle Book next year, and then we've got Beauty and the Beast in 2017, and Dumbo has a director, which that sounds like it's going to be on its way. And Winnie Pooh has a director, which sounds like that's going to be on its way. And we've got Tink. What am I missing? Another movie?
Worked it out.
Pinocchio. Pinocchio is in development as well.
I've just worked out what's going to happen.
I feel like
They're,
they
they're
should release
doing
one a year. That's what I'm saying.
they're doing a cinematic universe of fairy tales. They're all interconnected films.
I don't know how that would work.
Samuel L. Jackson will appear in the post credits of every one of these movies that they've announced.
So you're saying that Disney's going to have the Disney Princess brand into its full-length feature film where they'll come together.
Yeah, in live action form.
Although I don't know what
This is the long game.
Since
They're thinking really far.
day.
Yeah, that's why there's going to be 3 films a year. They need to have Tinkerbell 2, Return of Hook, Tinkerbell 3, Sinking in Neverland or whatever. Anyway, Neverland Ends. That's much better. Tinkerbell 3, Neverland Ends. That's my pitch, Disney.
We should probably come across talking about Reese Witherspoon. I feel like we've completely
get back on track, Nick. Get back on track. I think that look, they could cast anybody as Tinkerbell. I wouldn't really care because this is not something I'm excited about. Honestly, this is more to do with star power.
I'm not excited.
Reese Witherspoon has a fair amount of star power. It's like when they cast Angelina Jolie as Maleficent. It's like, this isn't a movie you see to watch it as a movie. This is a movie you see to see Angelina Jolie play Maleficent. That's what they were advertising it as. It's like the star power. It corrupts all films of any creative freedom. It's like, this is a star vehicle. This is a vanity project, and it's the only. It's the number one concern with that film, and so audiences see it because they love the actor, whatever. They don't care what the film's like or how good the film is, which they should. And that's the whole idea of film is it should be about story, character, all that. What Mad Max is. It's not about which actors play the characters. It's about the story, the action, everything that happens in the story. Whereas with Maleficent, it's about Angelina Jolie, the actor, not the character she's playing. And the same goes for Reese Witherspoon in Tinkerbell.
Okay. Well, I'm probably going to be seeing this because I saw Disney live action.
I must see it. I'm not saying I'm not going to see it. Okay.
But I guess this was a given since there's like, what, 5 or 6 Tinkerbell direct-to-video films. And now I think they're not doing them anymore, so I guess this was inevitable that they would we'll do a live action Tinkerbell now. But I think Reese Witherspoon is pretty good, although depends if she can, like you said, be as the character and not as like Angelina Jolie. Angelina Jolie as Maleficent. Hopefully she can portray the character instead of just portraying as Reese Witherspoon. So
yeah,
we'll see. Next one is Lionsgate pulls a magic trick and are now working on Now You See Me 3, a full year before the sequel is released.
Yeah,
I haven't seen the first one, but Nick, you have?
You haven't seen it? You haven't?
No. I will see it before the sequel because the sequel has Daniel Radcliffe, and that got my money, so I will see the first one before I see the next one.
Star power. There you go. Star power. You get Emma Watson in Noah, and everybody's going to go and see it. Anyway.
I saw it.
Anyway, so Now You See Me. There's a lot of people that don't like it, but I thought it was a pretty harmless movie. It's a little bit of fun. I saw it in the cinema, actually. I saw it. I saw it at the movies, and it's not terrible. It's a little bit redundant. It's a little bit like forgettable, but it's not bad. I don't think it's bad. It's just like one of those movies that they'll play in midday movie in 10 years' time, and be like, oh, Now You See Me franchise. It shouldn't be a franchise.
Well, it's gonna be a
I
trilogy.
don't know how they. I don't know how where they're gonna go from here. I know it was a huge success in the States, but I don't know where they could go narrative-wise, because really it was a one-off film and it should have just stayed that way. I think it had its kind of B movie charm, if that makes sense. You know, B grade movie charm to it. That's what I think. Anyway,
It's funny you said it's only a
maybe it's an
success in the
unpopular.
States. It's actually it was a success worldwide, Nick.
Oh, okay. I was aware of its success in the States. I hadn't really looked at its worldwide gross, but yeah, that's really
Pretty sure it made
my
like
thought.
360 million. So
Another thing I'd like to add, though, is why do they keep announcing threequels before the sequels even come out? This is a generic problem in general. I mean, Sony got caught off guard with it with Amazing Spider-Man. Why do they keep announcing these movies that might not even be produced if the one before them bombs? It's stupid. Oh God, it's
well,
getting worse and worse and worse.
well. This isn't happening for say. I mean, unlike Sony, they announced the release date to Amazing Spider-Man 3. With Lionsgate, they have not announced release date. All they're saying is in development, and we know that projects in development can stay in development hell and never come out.
Yeah,
All this is that they
is
said
the
that
case,
Amazing 3 are working on it, and usually that's what happens when it comes with a film before the sequel. You are usually working on it. So it depends how the second one performs box office wise, but
if that is the case, though,
it's not a full sure thing.
if it does end up getting stuck in development hell, then what's the point of even like announcing it in the first place? They should only announce movies when they're actually going to come out, when they're in production. That's what I think. It's stupid.
I don't think they announced it. I think someone, I think someone said it was like during a what do you call it?
Investors briefing.
Like a meeting or something with the investors. Or something
Investors,
like that.
an investor briefing. Yeah.
Yeah, and this just came out from it. So.
I want to vomit when I hear the word investors. Even though there are a lot of nice investors out there, the word investor just invokes greedy, money-making businessmen, and they have no care at all for what we're talking about here. Why we have a Facebook page and a site and this show is because we care about the quality of films. We care about the creative side of it, and that films can be a way of escapism and also learning, like seeing the world in a different way. So that's what they're art. They're first and foremost supposed to be art. They're not first and foremost supposed to be money-making tools. And that's why I think the shift in Hollywood at the moment is, I'm digressing, but the shift in Hollywood at the moment is going away from art and towards money-making business models. And that is the worst thing about investors' meetings, because they're just talking about film sequels that are going to bring in the money.
Well, I feel like it needs to be both. It needs to be art and business, because if you take a look, if you think about business with Pitch Perfect too, that didn't need to have a sequel, and yet that movie's making, it's already made probably triple its budget back from box office. Then you have art. You have Mad Max Fury Road here, who we're not even sure if it will break even. Which I think it'll break even, but I'm not sure it's going to be humongous revenue of profit for the studio. So it needs to sort of be both.
Talking about which?
Sadly, moviegoers just don't want art first.
Anyway, we are obviously going to come to that very soon.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. Okay.
But think of it Lionsgate's way. I mean, there are like, I don't know if you can call them like the 7th major film studio now, but you should really, because they did big like other companies last year, like Sony and that. Yeah, they really have. They became an independent, and now they're like the biggest independent film studio of all time, and they want to sort of keep, sort of stay with the, the big crowd movie studios, and they just want to develop other franchises because they know that their biggest moneymaker, Hunger Games, is coming to an end this year, so they need to keep that going for them for the company to stay in the business and compete
At the
against the
compromise of
others.
quality. At the compromise of quality.
Mm-hmm. And who knows?
Well,
maybe
we'll see.
movie 2 could be better than the first
Could
one.
be better than the first one. That's true. It's true, but it does not make it necessary from anything other than a business standpoint.
Okay.
Anyway, we've talked about this for too long. We better move on. That's my cynical. That's my cynical
more
news
zombies
story.
ahead. The sequel. I thought the cynical one was Disney. More zombies ahead. The sequel to 2013's surprise hit, World War Z, will be released in theaters on June 9th, 2017. Brad Pitt will be reprising his role from the first film. Yeah, excited, Nick?
Can we just repeat the exact same response?
Well, I've never seen the first one.
Me neither, but I'm still going to repeat the exact same thing that I said through the previous news story. So we might as well just put the repeat quotes there, because this is the exact same thing. This is a successful movie. This is the successful movie that made a lot of money that they're making a sequel to serve its investors. End of story. That's it. Cynicism.
I don't even know where we should go with a sequel. World War Z 2.
More zombies, obviously.
It's the Sharknado, the sequel. Just put more sharks in it, or more zombies in this one.
No, here we go. Wait, that's a genius idea. A zombie-nado.
Oh my god.
A zombie tornado that just like sweeps through San Francisco and destroys the Golden Gate Bridge. Yes. Gonna do that.
Wow. That's probably what sci-fi is going to be probably working on next. This is spin-off of it. Or a Sharknado, Zombie-nado, film shared universe, maybe.
Oh no! Don't.
And I don't know if you've seen the. I don't know if you've seen the trailer. Have you seen? Did you see the Maze Runner Scorched Trials trailer?
What is there? Is there a zombie-nado in the Maze Runner Scorched Trials?
The Zombie Trials.
Did you see the trailer? Is this the next news story?
Yep. We've done the news. No, this is the best I got.
I haven't seen it, but I will say that I did quite enjoy the Maze Runner, the first one. So if you haven't read my review for that, I'm pretty sure I've got a review for that. Yeah, somewhere. If you haven't read my review for that, it does. I didn't like its expositional beginning. Just going to plug that. I didn't like the way it had started off with a bit of exposition, but since it's based on a novel, that's kind of can't be helped. They could have done it a little bit less, obviously, but the story itself is quite predictable, but it's a fun movie. I think it's quite good for what it is.
Yeah,
I'm happy to see. Yeah, I'm happy to see the sequels.
Well, judging by the trailer. Well, judging by the trailer, I do like what they're doing. They're setting this other world, like they're pretty much setting the universe outside of the maze, and I like that. But I still don't really know if because the Scorched Trials is like this desert sort of wasteland, a little bit like Mad Max, a bit of just like destruction, and I don't know if that's going to be quite as engaging story-wise.
It's like the Hunger Games without the Hunger Games. It's like Harry Potter without Hogwarts. It's like the Maze Runner without the maze. It's the same. All of the young adult novels do this. They always have the final installment be not to do with what the title is or what the first few were all about. And so they start with the second one.
The second film of a trilogy.
Second one. Yeah. I'm so glad they're not making it a quadrilogy, personally. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. It's not my most anticipated movie of the year, but it probably will be my most anticipated movie of September, because September is always like a garbage pile of movies normally. So.
Well, not for Australia. We've got Pan, which is one of my most anticipated
Oh,
films of the year,
that's good.
and
Yeah,
we've
that
got
was
Pixels.
nah, but Adam Sandler.
I hope that was towards Pixels and not Pan.
Pixels.
Okay, and wrapping up the weekend box office, at number 5 we have Avengers: Age of Ultron with $20.9 million for a total of $404 million. At number 4 we have Poltergeist with $23 million. At number 3 we have Mad Max: Fury Road with $23.9 million for a total of $87.3 million. At number 2 we have Pitch Perfect 2 at $30.3 million for a total of $117.8 million. And at number 1 we have Tomorrowland with $32.2 million. Anything stand out? I think Poltergeist stands out pretty disappointing comparing the marketing towards that film. It did so horror numbers compared to films that didn't have a big marketing towards it.
Yeah, I know, but horror's like that. Horror either exceeds expectations or like falters. And you never get one that performs on par with expectations. They always either go, "Oh my god, this horror is a phenomenon that goes through the roof in terms of box office," or "This horror is such a budget failure, such a box office failure." So Poltergeist is one of the latter,
Most
and I'm not
like
yeah. I'm not terribly surprised personally because the trailers did look like something we'd kind of seen before. Even though it did look scary, it didn't look like anything new, and the reviews weren't inspiring for a lot of people. I don't think either. Not that reviews generally have anything to do with horror, but yeah. The biggest story. Well, I saw it in front of Mad Max actually this week. That was the first time I saw the trailer. And yeah, well, it was pretty. Look, it was pretty terrifying. But I'm easily scared by horror movies. Anyway, the biggest story. You seem to be neglecting the biggest story. Is actually Tomorrowland, I think, because it's lower than expected.
Brad Bird can do no wrong.
It's lower than expected. The gross. Let's talk. We're not going to talk about the critical reaction. We're not going to talk about the critical reaction. We're going to talk about the gross. The gross is lower than expected. Disappointing. The gross is disappointing for Disney, who would have spent nearly $200 million on this film, if not more, and now will probably just break even, if that, with this film. And it's sad because it's an original sci-fi film. Even no matter what the quality of it is, it's the kind of film we should be promoting. Original. Not based on anything, not an adaptation, and well, except for maybe a ride, that doesn't really count. And then it's something we need more of, and we don't. It's not a sequel, basically. Anything that's not a sequel, we need more of. And it just didn't make enough money to really inspire hope for that.
Yeah, I thought this movie would make. I actually thought this movie was going to make about 40 to 50 million. So to make it only 32 million in 3 days is pretty disappointing. Compared to number 2 with 30 million, just 2 million away from the number 1 weekend champ from last week. It's quite disappointing, and Disney's probably not going to be too happy with the numbers.
No. I mean, they've got.
Do you think it's going to have
Star Wars this year? They've got Avengers and Star Wars this year to, like, I don't know, give them the cash to wipe their tears with. But the interesting thing is when you compare Tomorrowland to Mad Max. Mad Max is in the States. I think Mad Max is doing very, very well. I don't know how it's doing worldwide, but it's holding up very well, and it's making. I mean, it would have had a fairly big budget, I think, but it's making quite a lot of money in just 2 weeks. It's 80 something already. And I don't think Tomorrowland's going to have great legs either. So it's good. Yeah. So I think compared to Mad Max, which might have the legs to pull a mini Frozen and just go on and on and on and on forever, till it hits maybe nearly 200, maybe 100, just over 150 to 200. I think could even go over 200 if it stays in cinemas long enough. Whereas I think Tomorrowland's going to peter out and die just over 100 million, which is sad.
Yeah, it is. And we're not basing anything off. We haven't seen the film yet because it hasn't come out in Australia yet. So we can talk about next week on discussion of Tomorrowland, and if we sort of agree with the critics or not towards the film. Avengers: Age of Ultron, $404 million. It's going to be it's definitely going to beat out the second highest Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, Iron Man 3, with $409 million.
And worldwide too, easily will take.
I don't think it's going to hit 500. I don't think Avengers 2 is going to hit 500 anymore.
What?
I think it's going to get about maybe probably 450.
Are you talking about domestic?
Domestic, 450 to 460, probably now.
Yeah, probably will just fall short of 500, but I think more towards 480, 490, not so much 500. I think worldwide,
I just think
it still has a shot at beating the original worldwide.
Yeah, no, I was only thinking like that because we have like San Andreas coming out. We've got Jurassic World, Terminator. You know, it's more, and we've got Ant-Man as well. There's just more films catered to the Avengers audience that I feel like Avengers is sort of just going to be dropping.
Anyway,
but yeah. We've got no milestones because nothing hit a milestone this weekend, so let's go over to our predictions. You're winning so far with 13, and I am coming very close with 12, so I'm a point behind you. So let's start with the predictions. At number 1, I have San Andreas. Andres, is that how you pronounce it? I can't remember.
Yep.
Number 2, we have Pitch Perfect 2. At 3, Aloha. 4, Tomorrowland. 5, Mad Max Fury Road.
Okay, wow, we have Pitch Perfect 2 in very different spots. Anyway, I agree with your number 1. I think that San Andreas is going to rock the box office.
You've been waiting for that.
I've been waiting for weeks for that. I've been waiting for that. You wait till next week when we're analyzing box office. You wait. I'm going to just write them all down. So that's number 1. Number 2, I think will actually be Aloha, which is a reasonable prediction. Number 3, I think will actually be Tomorrowland. I think it will have Take a Dive, but it won't take a dive as much as the third week holdovers. I mean, it's third week for Mad Max and Pitch Perfect 2. Mad Max has the legs, so Mad Max will come in 4th, and then Pitch Perfect 2 will take a huge hit because of Aloha, and it will come down to 5th.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't know. The director hasn't made a film for a while with Aloha, and I don't know. I don't think the marketing has been that particularly strong towards the film. Of course, I'm going to say it.
You have to remember the audience, and Aloha taps into an audience that hasn't had a movie for a while, except for Pitch Perfect 2. Pitch Perfect 2 is more of a youth culture thing, though, whereas Aloha is a romance, as a rom-com, and you don't get as many of those around the middle of the year, like their Valentine's Day, early year kind of thing. And I think that taps into the same kind of audience that love all those what Rachel McAdams films. I mean, women love Bradley Cooper, so it's definitely going for the female audience there. I think they're not going to turn out for San Andreas, are they?
You've now sort
They're
of
not going to turn out for Tomorrowland that much, or Mad Max.
No.
So they're going to choose between Aloha and Pitch Perfect 2, and a lot of them have already seen Pitch Perfect 2, and the ones that haven't probably aren't interested, so they haven't seen a movie in a while, so therefore Aloha might surprise, I think. And the marketing hasn't been strong.
You've persuaded me. Now I'm looking at my predictions, and now I also wish that I put Aloha number 2 now. You've sort of convinced me that I've probably put it on the wrong spot.
You've said them.
No. Oh, we'll see how it turns
That's what you get for going first.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone who tuned in or watched it. Sorry we started a bit late. tune in next week for more movie news, hopefully, and we'll go to predictions and see who won the weekend. Fingers crossed for St. Andres, because Nick really wants to start off with a rocky pun. So if you haven't liked our page, you can go. You can. I hope Aloha wins now the weekend. You can like our reviews and news at facebook.com/everythingfilm, and you can subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want more videos. And that's about it. So until next time, bye bye.
Till next time.